Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the movie Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And this movie has a lot of problems. Because on paper it's a dinosaur movie, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I should like it. However, there's a lot of issues that crop up within this movie, and it doesn't help that it feels like certain elements from the first Jurassic World seem to be reused, and Lost World Jurassic Park themes seem to be used as well. And then it just kind of has a whole different kinds of messages going on, like animal conservation, genetic manipulation, all the kind of ethics and things that need to be going on with that, but it doesn't say anything about them, really. It just feels kind of like a mess, in my opinion. And that is more to do with the writing and the structure and everything going on with it, less to do with the actors. I really didn't have much problem with the actors themselves, it's just certain things were going on with it. Because this movie starts out, we see that the island that the dinosaurs are on has a volcano that's going to erupt. We have Ian Malcolm brought in throughout, just commenting on why they should just let the animals die because they played God, and God is pretty much, in his opinion, rectifying this mistake. It's kind of weird when you start off the movie and you're like, I kind of agree with Ian Malcolm, and then you keep going through it and you're like, he's kind of proven right to a degree. And so we see that Claire's trying to organize people to save the dinosaurs and not having that much success. But then we get Lockwood, who is a partner of Hammond's, wants to rescue the dinosaurs. So she needs to go and get Owen, who was the one that trained Blue and the Velociraptors in the first Jurassic World, because he's the only one that should be able to get Blue, the last Velociraptor. So they go to the island, and this is where it just kind of starts to kind of fall apart. Now granted, there was a funny little scene where we see that they focus on Claire and that she's wearing boots. I know it's kind of just a nod like, look, she's going to be running around in boots this time. I'm glad that was occurring because I seen her run around in the first film in high heels and outrun a Tyrannosaurus Rex in high heels was just like, that was a bridge too far to a degree. I'm like, not just like nobody can do it, but you would have to be on like crazy level of going on and endurance and training to do that. Like, if you were running around being a kung fu badass all day, every day, you won't hear nothing from me. Yeah, you're gonna outrun that thing in high heels. Fine. It just was like, okay, that's a funny little nod. Then it just starts to fall apart. They've only got this certain amount of time, so they only just start grabbing certain ones. I'm like, why? Okay, I understand you're trying to save them from the volcano, but it seems kind of weird. I mean, it goes into the overall plot, but it's kind of like a rehashing of the engine things. They wanted the dinosaurs for themselves. Lockwood's being screwed over by the person who's pretty much in charge of his estate to use them for weapons and black market things. Okay, understand that. So we get to the eventual double cross. We get Claire with her one tech dude who get locked in a bunker, and Grady finds Blue, and he gets tranked by the other, by the kind of headhunter guy. So they're taking Blue back, they're getting all of them pretty much put onto the boats and everything, when all the shit starts getting through. Here's where the suspension of disbelief kind of starts to fall apart for me. I studied Earth and Space Science in high school. Now granted, I am not fully versed within the realms of the science around volcanoes and everything, but I'm like, Owen would have fucking flash fried if he was that close to lava. Okay? And that's kind of just the beginnings of where things start to fall apart for me with it. Now granted, it's a funny scene where he's like trying to outrun the lava, but I'm like, if it's that close, he's already toast. But he gets out because he got a wiggle and everything. He's running. Dinosaur comes into the bunker and tries to pretty much eat Claire and the tech guy. And here's another part. the lava gets onto this dinosaur. This is super hot, superheated, molten magma. I don't know of any dinosaur that could have withstood that kind of heat. It should have melted the damn thing's head off and killed it. You can't, I would like to see how you can genetically, if they'd even talked about, like, we genetically engineered these dinosaurs to withstand extreme heats and everything like that. I could have bought that a little bit, but I'm like, okay. So they escape, and they start to run away from, like, the pyroclastic flow and everything. And, again, that's where it goes and just kind of, like, shuts down again. These pyroclastic flows, they're not just ash in air. This is another force coming from the volcano that can reach, like, thousands of degrees Fahrenheit. Being anywhere that close would have been burning their lungs and burning them completely. I'm like, what? They find a gyro ball thing, and they get Claire and the tech dude in. They're kind of going through. Grady at Owen gets swallowed up by the pyroclastic flow at one point, but is able to get out. They get into the ocean, but at a certain point, the lava and everything's coming into the ocean as well, so they should have been boiled alive in the seawater. I know it seems like I'm nitpicking, but it keeps building upon itself to the point where you're like, you should have died so much and so often at this point. The plot armor, ding, ding, dings. So they're able to get to the beach, and they're able to find the boat and get on the boat. The thing is, Blue is having issues because she didn't want to go down. And she got shot by one of the people because she was beaten and getting ready to kill one dude because she only trusts Owen. So we get this other girl that was working with Claire that is a dinosaur veterinarian and is trying to make sure she's all healed up. Claire and Owen kind of find her. They figure out she needed blood, and they go off. And she says, oh, just find carnivore blood. That should do it. I'm like, again, that's not how blood works. Granted, since they're dinosaurs and they could still have the same kind of, like, genetic engineering that could do, it's less of a problem, but I'm like, okay. They do get some blood from a T-Rex in a funny scene. They're able to get the bullet out of Blue and make sure that she's all healthy and all of that. But they find out that instead of going to the Sanctuary Island, they're going to Lockwood's home, which I didn't know where it was at first. I thought it was in England, but evidently it's in California. That was just unclear a little bit to me. Okay, whatever. Lockwood also has a granddaughter, but I knew there was something off with their... She finds out about what's going on with the person entrusted with his foundation and everything. And, by the way, this dude's an idiot, because here's the other part where it starts to fall apart. This little girl is able to get into this secured facility where there's no security whatsoever. No guards, no beeping, nothing. Why is this important? Because we find out that they have been messing around and trying to make a next-gen kind of Indominus Rex. This, the Indoraptor. Which is kind of weird because they've essentially created a 3/4 size. And granted, it's definitely bigger than a raptor like Blue. But it's not as big as the Indominus Rex. And it is kind of weird that they decided to take the Indominus Rex and just be like, you know what? We should just make it more raptor instead. I'm like, but you had raptor in it. There's a big plot point of it being able to control and communicate with raptors and essentially pack form up with it. Okay? Fine. But they wanted Blue because they wanted to try and breed into traits of it for it to be more susceptible to commands. Because they got it in that facility that has no security guards that a little girl got into with apparent ease. Well, said dude finds out that she knows everything. She tries to tell her grandfather and gets a picture, and we find out she looks exactly like her mother. And she's going, okay. He locks her up, and he starts having an auction with all the dinosaurs. Of course, Owen is locked up with Claire. They're essentially going to pretty much be thought of as dead on the island. Tech dude and the veterinarian woman are kind of just mixed up within the organization at the moment. The tech dude just was helping out, and they just kept helping around there. And then they just start auctioning off the dinosaurs. Like, okay, this is more interesting, but I wish this had been more of a focus instead of just plopped in. But we see him betting on all this stuff. We see Owen and Claire use this one hammerhead dinosaur. I call them hammerhead dinosaurs because I played the Lost World Chaos Island video game, and that's kind of what they were referred to, but they kind of just pissed one off enough, little one, that it like knocked its way through a wall and then knocked through the door, and they're like, alright, let's kind of get out of here and do whatever it's doing. They show up the Indoraptor, and everybody's bidding on it, and of course the doctor from the first, from Jurassic World is going, it's a prototype, it's not finished, like, we're going to sell it for all this money. Alright, cool. And of course, Owen doesn't want that thing to leave, and he's able to bring in the hammerhead to just bash up a lot of people and kind of just freak everything out and make sure that the Indoraptor doesn't leave. Everything's kind of getting broken up and everything. Everybody's kind of like running around trying to figure everything out. We see that the head hunter man, who's got a penchant for like ripping teeth out of animals for a necklace, decides it's a smart fucking idea to do it with the Indoraptor. So he tranks it, Indoraptor plays dead, and he's trying to pull the tooth out, doesn't work, thing bites his arm off, and he's still like pretty cognizant of what's going on, doesn't bleed out too rapidly, and then the thing kills him. And this is where another kind of critique I got on goes into it. They've essentially got this Indoraptor trained down to know when a target's marked and with a sound go after said target. The thing about making an animal the monster in a movie is you have to be aware of what is driving its killing instinct. This thing, of course, has been designed to kill, but its also functioning is to kill to eat. Throughout the rest of this thing, it gets out, it starts killing people and everything, and at one point eats a man. Pretty much whole. It's pretty big, and I'm like, but it's not big enough that eating a whole man would, like, that would pretty much pull it up. An arm and a man would too. I only bring this up because if it is full, and that's its main reason for hunting and everything, it would just be like, fuck all the rest of you. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Now granted, if anything gets in its way territorial-wise, it'll just fucking kill it. But it just won't go random willy-nilly kind of what it's doing and just going after it. I don't mind it mindlessly going after things, but when you bring up the effects of it either being a honed killing machine or a kind of honed controlled killing machine and trying to figure out the things going on with that, it just becomes like, okay, whatever. Rampage. Of course, Owen and Claire have met up with the granddaughter at this point, which we find out is just a clone of the daughter, and I'm like, okay, that's why Hammond and him broke up. Because he went and cloned a human, and Hammond's like, no, that is not good. That's not good, man. No. So, that's about where some people get bashed in by the Indoraptor. The head dude's trying to escape with the Indominus Rex tooth. Which, that's another part. In the beginning of the movie, they go and they try and obtain a sample from the dead Indominus Rex. And they go into the lagoon that had that giant croco shark thing. And it was like 3 years, and that thing was still alive. No way! That thing is so big, it just... Even if like, giant herbivores just started being fucking stupid and falling into the thing. The lagoon. It would have to fall at such a rate to keep it alive for 3 years? What? It should have been dead. Its mass demands that it must eat enough to sustain itself, and in the lagoon like that, it wouldn't unless the dinosaurs went fucking Lord of the Flies and started picking, we shall sacrifice for God in water, in water lagoon thing, which we have not seen. It's like, come on. I mean, if you explain that it went into a severe state of hibernation and stopped moving until something would, like, come along, maybe. That's not explained, it's not shown. I'm like, 3 years that thing would have been dead. And then it somehow, like, escaped because the T-Rex that's always present had eaten a dude and made sure that the thing went open. I'm like, oh, that's just gone into another environment that it is not acclimated to the salinity of the water or anything, and potentially might not have enough food or whatnot to sustain itself. Great. We'll see how this works out. So getting back to the Indoraptor pretty much going as a horror movie throughout the rest of it, chasing around everyone. We get Blue let out by the veterinarian and tech dude. Going out, I thought was knocked the crap out, but they're able to get it to an effect of fighting the Indoraptor and Blue helping out a little bit, which was pretty cool. Blue pretty much sees Owen as part of the pack and has empathy and everything and has a higher kind of form of intelligence, as Maisie had seen in videos in the lab that wasn't guarded by anybody and didn't even figure out any unauthorized use of the computer either. I'm sorry, these things just, it's just so much that it starts acclimating at a point and I'm just like, I don't know anymore. So they continue fighting the Indoraptor and we pretty much get to a point where they get it on the roof to smash it down through a place, and Blue helps to kill it again, just like the Indominus Rex, and it's dead. And we find out that throughout all the chaos and everything, this fatal gas buildup is going up around the dinosaurs, and they get down there. They can't, the HVAC system isn't working, so they can't get it out. It's like they got to figure out if they let the dinosaurs out or they don't. Of course, Clone Girl decides to say, I'm a clone too, they deserve to live, and pops open the button. Well, let's see. There isn't enough diversity for the dinosaurs to mate together to really live. You have now unleashed scores of dinosaurs into the wild that could potentially harm and kill people. Yeah. And it's just creating a giant mess. I'm like, listen, if you had a plan to put these dinosaurs in a better spot, yeah, that's alright. But she's just like, and it's not like her fault. It's just the flimsiest of like, let's set the dinosaurs free. They don't have many of their kind. They're not acclimated to these weathers or these conditions or these environments. People are going to freak the hell out, and there's going to be problems. Now, granted, this is on the West Coast in California. If it had been like where there's a lot of hunters involved, I could totally see that T-Rex being taken out and barbecued somewhere. Alright? It ain't standing up to much with people just are like, I don't want to die to that thing. You know what? Posse up, take it out. I'm like, yes, that is totally a better and more humane way to go out than suffocating to death. Yeah, granted, it's kind of a no-win scenario either way, but I'm like, I understand there's a time crunch, but couldn't you have kind of figured out a way to, like, get them to some place where they're not going to harm people and people aren't going to harm them? It's just like, release them! Oh God, why didn't we think of the consequences? And that's kind of what Ian's kind of talking about, and it's just, we see him at the end, we see, evidently there's an end credit scene that I didn't stay for, that they kind of are like, there's other ones flying around to Las Vegas and everything, because we see Blue kind of in a kind of desertous setting. We see the main T-Rex roaring at a lion. I'm just like, we see all the rest of them going to their black market buyers and everything, and I'm just like, this is a mess. This is just like the cobbling together of other better Jurassic movies, and it felt like they were trying to do too much in one movie. Like, they should have picked a theme of, like, animal conservation or the kind of rights of genetic engineering and modification. What are the rights of genetically created animals and beings versus normal methods? The kind of ethics and everything going on with that. It's just all thrown together and not really done much with. There are cool action set pieces and everything. The volcano, the Indoraptors throughout the house. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is cool. I had no problems really with the actors or anything. It's just everything that's built on for it to be the bones and the foundation and to give it structure and substance and help with it just does not support it at all. And they should have done better. The Jurassic franchise deserves better because I love the first one. Lost World was pretty good as well. Third one, it's not horrible, but I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. And I liked how Jurassic World did its thing. I'm like, okay, we're back at the park. I kind of liked what it was going for. It did more of the park thing, more of the hard thing, and then I'm just like, we're here, and I'm going, you're kind of doing too much of the same thing. You're kind of just doing the same thing you did in the first one, and you did in the second one, in the first parts of the series. It's like, they could have done better, and I wish they'd done better, but I would just wait. I mean, if you're really into dinosaurs and you're really into Jurassic Park, you'll have some enjoyment out of it. Otherwise, I would just wait to see it on like a movie channel or something, or rent it or whatnot. I was disappointed in the story and the structure and everything, and I'm just like, the characters deserve better, the actors deserve better. I don't know where they're going with this. That's just how muddy this ending was and this whole structure was. So I hope they do better. Because the thing is, after watching it, I'm like, I saw essentially this whole movie from the trailers. And I rarely get that kind of feeling from movies. So that's a thing for me to be like, damn, you showed like all the big parts. There wasn't really much for me to be surprised about. And that's not good. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.